Hey guys, it looks like it's time that we go check out 194. Hey guys, welcome back to the AnKorage where everything is awesome, and it is yet another edition of Exhibition. So it's Craft Quest Exhibition, and we are going to be looking at the world I generated called 1.9.4. I just left it with the numbers because I didn't have anything special going on with it. It was just something to test a few things out and everything of that sort. So we are going to jump into that, and I'll see you afterwards.
Hey everybody, it's Shadow Strike, and this is Craft Quest Exhibition. Let's get going on this. Well, we've got a new world here. Well, this is actually going to be about a world that is the big one. This is the very first world that I actually created while using Craftian, using a world for version 194. There may have been one or two others, but it didn't amount to anything. But this one is the one. This was used the most, and it's the largest. So right now it's over 500 megs, which is gigantic in of itself for Craftian. So my recommendation is keeping your worlds below 500 megs, ideally no bigger than 250 to 300 if at all possible, but you may want to be able to do something bigger if you wish. So what you see right here is actually the starting area, and if you look way off in the distance you see something that looks like a wall. Here's an overhead view that I used the program called Mineways, which is of course recommended by Mojang, and I'm using it just for the sake of being able to see from above and just kind of see where things are, and so you can see some of the area here of what makes it so large. The entire world is not on here in this shot, but this is a portion of it. It looks like it's the central-ish, and it's up in the northwest quadrant. So now we have what was the main village for a while, and I called it Port Ragnar. Why was it called that? And that's because, well, there's a village there, and here's a river, port, boats. There you go. Here's the inside from the opposite side from that last picture, and you can see that this is a done-up village, and I've planted all those trees and such. And there's a number of there's a couple of interesting things in this village. We have things like a tower, and we have a blacksmith, but you can see right in the center there, there's like a towery kind of thing with some not granite, but some quartz, and looks like redstone. That is exactly what it is right there. This is to play on the idea of a central power source, redstone power for Minecraft worlds, and in this edition of sorts of a world is to try to centralize redstone power for the village, to make it look like it. Granted, it's only effective for a short distance from the block itself, but it's just something to try to make it a little prettier. In my customized resource pack, this looks fantastic, but it looks pretty good like this. So the developer actually had come into this world and actually built this house. Dan did some fantastic work, and this actually has a basement as well, and some walking paths, and a little beachy type thing for a pond, and it's cute, and it's a nice little house. So In honor of this guy. It's a little bit of a nod too. I keep this world up and running um, whenever I can, um, which is pretty often because I'm not usually doing much with the Blue Eagle worlds. But this is 194. This is on a separate server. So right now that server is running MC Prom because I'm doing some work on an underground village. Isn't that kind of cool? Um, but 194 is up and running. Well, it's not running, but it's up and it's in the Raspberry. And all I have to do is just shut the server off, reselect it, and turn it back on, and there it is. It's pretty simple. And in keeping with my admiration of that 70s TV show Land of the Lost, this is a command node, as I call it, and this is, my rendition of their pylons. Of course, it's much larger than an actual pylon from the show, but that is for the sake of being able to mimic the interiors to have a larger space. Even though the pylons in the show, you go inside and it's got a parking universe that just goes on. Something additional that I did for for these command nodes, this is number one, which is in the northwest quadrant. I added these pressure plates, and it's to make it a little more challenging. Now you can see here I've got the door open, so you can see inside, but typically it's closed. But what happens is if you go walking along this, one of these pressure plates has a command block that will teleport the person somewhere, typically back to Ragnar Blodari, which is of course the main village for the world. This is the inside. Now, you've got those couple of creepers and stuff like that. I don't know. They just spawned in there, I guess. Oh yeah, because I had the door open. That's why. If the door was shut, they wouldn't spawn. But you can see there's another chest there, and in the center you see something with trapdoors on it. That's like some gold ore or something like that. That is to kind of mimic the matrix tables with the tables with the crystals on it. And of course, I've got another portal over there on the left, and that's to mimic anything from the show inside the pylons, which happens to look like this. You've got your matrix table there, which has got a lot of different crystals, and then of course you got that green orby thing that's kind of like a view screen of sorts. And here we have one of the villages in the southwest corner, and I did a lot of work in here, and of course it's on a ravine of sorts, so I've got a fence going around it so that NCPs the villagers don't end up falling in, or animals or anything that happen to be around. And let's see, Sokin student and someone else built that house up there towards the upper right of that village. You see where that lava thing is. That house there was built by those two, so that's kind of neat. And I built that barn and everything and stuff like that. And up there in the upper center area, there's that taller building that was built when the system generated the village, and I put in a redstone kind of power source and broke up the little connectivity wires, if you could call it that, just the channel that goes from the actual power source into that building. I shut that off. Well, I beat it up a little bit. Now, nearby this village, you can get to a mine down in that ravine. And so I did a little work down here. You can see I got that command block over there. There's a button right in front of it that'll shoot you up and back down. And this is kind of like a blacksmith crafting area. So, and nearby we've got this Confusion Junction. Here's another village. This one, if I remember, yep, this one is the Western Village. It's near a command node, which is just off to the left. Uh, this one was interesting because you can see I've got got that obsidian. You see those beacons up there at the upper left area. That one there is like the redstone source for this village, and this village served an interesting purpose. I learned at one point about how you can generate ender dragons in the overworld, and I did that. You see where that hole is over there on the left? That's roughly the spot where I did that. And of course, nether dragons in the overworld, when they can fly straight through things and just eat up the blocks. It just destroys them. They just disappear. So up in the upper area of that village, there's that command node, and of course you got 3 floating nether crystals. Now in the show of Land of the Lost, they have these things called skylons. The skylons originate from the pylons, so this is to mimic that effect. So each command node has 3 of these nearby. They're just kind of floating there. Here's that hole where I generated that ender dragon, and of course when I was poking it and prodding it and stuff like that, it's like, it says the code, like you generate it and it just stays there, it doesn't do anything. Well, I was poking it and trying to kill it, and guess what? You see that bright square in the center, way in the distance? Yeah, it decided to up and leave, and it just started flying straight in that direction. So it went right for the center of this world where I moved it. So it started to eat its way through and tunnel its way to the center. And I actually closed it off and punched in those holes so we could see inside. So, and another thing that I wanted to do was I wanted to build a village, and here it is. Not much here. You see that tower, and you see this other little walkway tower thingy, and you see this bridge, and you see some plants, but you don't really see anything else. There's some people down there, some villagers, but the buildings are there too. I essentially took the idea of longhouses and put grass on top of them. As you can see over there on the right, you see like a light of sorts, like a street light that I built and such like that. All that grass I put on top of the building. And with Land of the Lost, they had, there's the Lost City. This is my rendition of a Lost City, if it's actually up and running. Hence all the couple of gardens, got a couple of fire pits. There's some villagers around. And you can see the likeness difference between the two. So if you look at the building back there, you can see the 3 entranceways. You can see the 3 entranceways, and you can see the decoration there. So, and this is another thing that I did as a nod towards the show. They call it the Builder's Temple. It was a thing in the show that that was mysterious. It was only covered the once, and never really heard anything about it after that. But I figured, this is like right up in behind it's, if I can go back to it, you see, like, you got the city here. It's actually built up behind there. So this is it right here. So I've got that dirt block in the center. That's kind of sort of look like to serve as a placeholder for a sundial. And of course you got the door, and there's 2 rooms in there. You can see the likeness from the show, and right there's that sundial, and there's that dirt block, and that's the courtyard for it. And that's the door over there on the left. Alright, so then we have Ragnar Blár Ari, the main village of this world. And this is basically the central navigation point for teleporting. And also it has another gate, and there's an end portal. Well, another portal and an end portal. Or another gate and end gate. But there's also the teleportation area, which is down inside that ravine type thing. And there's also a Do Not Laugh tribute to Sky Does Minecraft. And that is what it happens to look like. It's a little, got some improvements. Don't want people just falling off the edge. So this is that teleportation area that I built it from the ground out of that ravine area. And you can see that there is a lot going on here. Never mind those eyes of Ender. Those are just kind of like to make the effect of the teleportation area. But you can see on the left area over there, you can see all those buttons and such. And there's different names of different villages in the outer areas of this world. Over on the right, those go to the command nodes, and then up towards the upper area where the emerald is, that is the main teleporting area to the villages in the center area and a couple of funky spots. And there's also one in the hallway as well. So, and here is another village that is near command node number 2. I actually built this one by hand, and so because it was just a big open area, so I built a village. And you can see another instance here where there's a command node and some of those Skylonly type things. And here is a command node for the center of the world, and I've got a little hut of sorts, and I've got a command block there. I've got 2 of them there. That's to keep the weather clear and keep the time, resetting itself to the morning. And this is why this is probably a big chunk why the world size, memory wise, is 500 megs, is because that Ender Dragon did this. It got here and it just started flying around and just eating up everything, and of course all that water started to pour in. So you can see all that wood that's there. I actually went in there and tried to block that off, and that's the best I could do. There was a lot of single block placements and such. I might do something with World Edit where I just make that whole thing solid. I have to decide if I'm going to do that. And down in, this is command node number 9, and this is where I actually start playing with different design ideas for the command nodes. This one here is made out of nether brick, hence those couple of blazes. Those blazes are there and they stay there. They don't go anywhere. They do travel around a little bit, but otherwise they don't disappear, despawn, anything like that, because I actually named them. I forget their names. And then of course you can see I've got that pressure plate thing in the front. So, and back at Ragnar Vlar here is that nether portal, which I call a nether gate, and on the right is the building where the end portal or end gate is kept. Here is the nether, so you can see all the work that I've been doing in there. I've played with ideas about lighting just to try to make it a little brighter, and I played a little bit with lava, to kind of make it say, hey, yeah, you get these really tall buildings, but they don't do anything because it's just a wall, it's just another brick. Yeah, well, here's giving that something to do. Alright, here is another village. This one is in the outskirts. It looks like, I'm not quite sure which one it might be, because I haven't done anything with it. Here's the building to the end portal. Here's the inside. So basically what this is, since everything is like Viking-like or Old Norse-like, this is where anybody that is going to be going to the end would go. Of course you can just run off and jump in from the sides, but this is to kind of sort of be kind of like a, hey, you are going to go to the end. It's like, you're a crook, you've been caught, you've been convicted, you're going to the end for your sentence, for whatever it was, and this is how you're going to get there. You actually go up those steps, walk around to the center, and you get shoved in. And here's the end. The Ender Dragon here was killed, and that portal is active. Here is that outskirts area teleport. There's a lot there. One of them goes out to this buried desert temple. This is actually serving as a ancient power station, and there's why. That's down that shaft. That's where you would end up, of course, seeing the TNT and such like that. I went down there, got rid of all that, and I built this, little bit of redstone to kind of be like an old power station. Here's, there's the entrance to it, and I stuck that chest there. That's a teleport there. And as far as my approaches to strongholds is, of course, kind of unique. If I wanted to build it up or kind of, solidify it, close it up because there's holes at some point, to kind of make it unique, I was throwing, I'd identify the different levels, so I knew where it was. And you can see I've got those different color banners. If it's green, that means that area is all done. If it's yellow, it means it's currently in the process of being worked. If it's red, it means don't go over there. This here is I don't know, I suppose you could call it the pride and joy of 194. However, this is a lot of work, a lot of manual work that was done. The first thing I did was I went and I found a Notion monument, and using World Edit, I copied it and I pasted it here, and then I went crazy. As you can see, those towers are actually copy and paste from a desert temple, and of course, you got the little thing there. It looks like a really fat T in a way, and stuff like that. That is a rendition of Thor's hammer. Hint, that's because I actually have a Thor's hammer pendant that I happen to wear on occasion. So I got that. That's the inspiration for that. So I put that in there, and of course I've got that other area. That birch area at the top, I might actually remove that, replace it with something else. I haven't decided yet. This is underneath. When I pasted it, it just opened up this whole area. So what I did was I came down here and I did some work down here. And this is actually, correction, that is actually inside one of the spars. This is the lounge, hence the windows, hence the waterfall that goes up to the upper level, which I think there are some tables, and of course you got the cooking area over there on the right. This is at the front of the spar, looking back into this temple, and of course I used World Edit to change out all the stone. And then over on the right, you get into this area, which I turned into a greenhouse. This is that room that you would run into, and you find that gold after you've beat away some of the prison marine. That's that thing with the redstone is. I actually rebuilt it to be the redstone power for this entire temple. This is that back hallway, and I have no purpose for it, so I created a railway, and I turned that portion of wall into windows so you could see outside. This is the other back area. I haven't done anything with that. This is at the front of the other spar, which I have turned into a quote-unquote great hall of sorts. You've got the fireplace in the center of the fire pit. There's the chimney there, so that the wood wouldn't catch fire. And then, of course, you got the seating area at the end, up against that far wall, uh, where the Earl, if you want to call it that, would sit. The people in charge of the station could sit there and hold court, as it were, for the medieval folk. And then there's a stairway back there that allows you to go up and into the other areas of the temple, such as this. This is a great hall of sorts. It's just in here, of course, you got a lot of the default artwork. Well, in my resource packet, this is all Old Norse Viking stuff, and you can get to the two different levels here, such as this one here. You can get to the center, and you can look outside. This is actually up top, the very top. Now this is, and of course it's a command node, but this is actually a node towards the Farce of a Season 3 for Land of the Lost. One of the episodes focused on the Black Pylon. This is supposed to be the Black Pylon representative. There's a whole bunch of redstone or gold or something in there. There's no way to get in, and there's also no way to get back to Ragnar. You have to kill yourself, or you go on for a long walk. Excuse me. Now here is an ocean temple that I call Strike's Lair. Just Shadow Strike's Lair. So it's like my place. Not much has been done down inside. It has, but it hasn't. It's underwater. It's been left there. This is kind of like if you go out with a boat, you can dock here and you can go down inside. This is the inside of it. Here is the redstone power section. You got a villager over there. Here is the lounge. More of the lounge, the corner. And of course, got the windows there so you can see outside. See the fish going by. This here is the I call it the pillar. It's just a pillar that has water flowing through it, and that's it. And there's no way to get back to regular Blar. You can actually teleport here because it's in the middle of nowhere in the woods, and once you're here, you're here. That's the end of that. So that is just a brief description of the largest world that I have ever created, and it also has the developer's house that he built in there, but which is why I've kept it. It's all thanks to Dan, and I've done my most work in here while hosting it in a Craftbean Spigot server. You can keep up with us out on Birdsite, or Twitter if you really want to call it that. But it's Birdsite, and you see that at real_craftquest. That's where we're at, and that's where we basically run all the time. And we have a mirror out on mastodon.social/@craftquest. So everything gets posted on Birdsite, but it gets mirror posted from a cross-post application service, and it ends up on Mastodon, because that's where I started. So I am over on Twitter Birdsite now, and I'm actively using that. So there's where you can find it, and you'll notice this CraftQuest Memorax. Well, it was it says Memorax. You can pronounce it Memorax, but that's a toy on two words: memory and Linux. The memory of CraftQuest and the memory of Craftbean. And of course, it's Linux based, Linux. So I take the UX and stuff it on the end of chop off the end of memory and stick on the end of Linux, and you get Memorax. So there we go. And that is the end of this production. That's it. So, thank you for watching this, and I deeply appreciate it. So, I will see you on the next video, whatever that happens to be about. Thanks. Skál.
So, what did you think? Yeah, it was, like I was saying, 194. And yeah, I did more than just test a few things because of that big mess in the dead center of the world. Thanks to that Ender Dragon, which it just made a mess, and I had to go and I had to kill the thing to make it stop destroying chunks and everything of that sort. And I've gotten a few villages and such in there, as you saw, and that it ended up being a lot of extra work. Sokian actually went in with another relative and did a couple of things, made a house, and nothing fancy, some animals, cutesy, whatever. That was kind of cool, and the rest was basically all me. It was just me, just doing my thing, and it was really nice to have Dan Jorgensen log into it and check things out and make that little house. So that was pretty cool, and so that was a lot of fun. So we got more coming, so why don't you come on back and we'll look at more. So thank you very much. Skál.